I'm Ryan Anderson, and I would like to welcome you to another episode of Annuity Fundamentals. And I am here with my co-host Kylie Malott, and
Hey
our
everybody.
guest today, is Troy Briggs, who is the National Sales Manager for Nassau Life and Annuity Company. Now, I've known Troy for years, and when we started this, I was like, dude, I got to get somebody from Nassau on because they're one of my most favorite go-to companies. So, Troy, kind of tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about Nassau. And I think you're here today and you're going to talk to us about one of your really cool new products, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan, and Kylie. Thanks for having me in. Ryan, just to give a quick background on myself, born, bred, and educated in the great state of Maine, a University of Maine black bear. I got started in this business in 1993. Got my insurance license, started selling life insurance through MetLife. Snoopy was all the rage back then. I did that for 4 years, and then I decided to move to Boston and get into the wholesaling business at first with an organization called MFS. But then I've been affiliated with the Nassau companies since 2001. So it's hard to believe, at 52 years of age, that I've been affiliated with the same organization for coming up on, I guess, 23, 24 years now. So in the business for quite some time, with the same company for quite some time. That's loyalty. I know it's
Well, that must mean they're doing something right. I mean, they're treating you well. So that's some good loyalty. You don't hear that hardly anymore.
And that's primarily it from a background perspective. But I think what's important for everyone who's listening in here today on the podcast, for those that maybe it doesn't matter what part of business, the phase of the business that they're in, whether they're just getting started, they've been in it for 2 or 3 years, or they've been a veteran, an industry veteran for 20 plus years. You and I, Ryan and Kyle, we've done a little bit of everything, and I know that we're going to toss around some ideas. So I'm looking forward to joining in here today.
Fantastic. Now, I got to tell you that for years, I Nassau was my back even when it was Phoenix before you guys had the change and the rebranding. There's some things going on that
Yep.
you guys were my go-to product for accumulation. You were my go-to product for fixed income. I know that
Yep.
Kylie has sold several of these to her family members. I think your parents have a Nassau annuity,
Yeah,
if I
my
remember
parents
right.
have a good one. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
so I talked to you recently, and you're
Yep.
telling me about a new product that basically blew my mind. And since you mentioned that to me, I think we've sold 4 or 5 of them. I've got
Yeah.
at least
I remember when
three have closed, and I've got a couple more that are in the pipeline. And that's
Yep.
this accelerator thing. This is so different than anything else I've seen. Tell us a little bit about it here.
So, when we build a product, we take a couple things into consideration at Nassau. We want to make sure we build something that's got great consumer value. We want to make sure that we can give you the confidence, Ryan, when you take it out to the marketplace, it's going to do what it says it's going to do, or Kylie. And we obviously we want to turn a profit back to the insurance carrier, but net, if we can hit on all 3 of those things, we think we hit a home run. So the idea behind the Nassau Income Accelerator, and really this is a big focus of ours now, is this whole idea and notion of trying to provide education, and as we wrap around or think in terms of what people or how people should take their Social Security. So we recognize the fact that a lot of people, that when they work for a number of years and then they reach to that certain point in their life when they start looking at age 62, which is an important age for them, especially as it pertains to doing some planning as it pertains to Social Security, that we've noticed that a lot of people will still take in Social Security at that particular age, but then by doing so, leaving dollars on the table. Because the longer you can wait before you take your Social Security, the more monies you're going to have over the long term. And we know that longevity is something that it's a big topic of conversation in our business. For anyone listening in here today, I mean, I think you can sit down and have a conversation with clients or prospects that you're working with, and just talking on longevity alone, I think that you could maybe potentially open up some doors, because the fact of the matter is, if you have a couple and then they're in their 60s, there's over a 55% chance that one is going to live until the age of into their early 90s, age 90, 91, 92. Yeah. So that's incredible. And so what we were seeing is we're seeing a lot of people were taking Social Security at age 62. They're full, which is really going to only provide them with 2/3 of their full Social Security benefit. At age 67 here in the United States, that's full retirement age. That's when you can get 100% of your Social Security benefits. At age 70, if you wait until age 70, you can get, 130% of your Social Security benefit. So we were seeing people taking out Social Security at age 62. What we did is we wanted to create a product that would offer a lot of flexibility for the financial professional to go and sit down with a client and potentially show them a way in which we create a bridge for them if they truly wanted to retire at age 62, 63, or 64, to provide them with income in a short amount of time, and then to sort of bridge that until they could take their full Social Security at age 67. So we would squeeze a lot of money out of the annuity contract early on, and then it would drop down and levelize out each and every year for the rest of their life. And we built this with this Nassau Income Accelerator, and we created a new rider called the Flex Forward Income Benefit. Some people in the industry, and people could Google this. There are experts that have called this particular product and this particular rider a game changer, because what we've done is we've created the ability for people to squeeze out on a guaranteed basis, squeeze out extra dollars when they might need it the most between 1 and 8 years. So you pick the time period. If you needed 3 years of payments, or if you needed 5 years of payments, or 8 years of payments, between 1 and 8 years, we've got the ability to squeeze more money out of the annuity contract. And then at the end of that flex forward period, the amount of income that you would receive would reduce by a certain factor, and we would continue to pay that income out each and every year for the rest of your life. So it's extraordinary with the types of things that we can do with this type of planning, because depending upon the situation and the client that you're working with, it's conceivable that we could create a plan, a bridge plan for people that want to retire at, let's say, age 64, take income from an annuity product over a 3-year stretch, mimic their Social Security payment, and then when they reach age 67, turn that Social Security on, make sure that they're maximizing that benefit, and then of course they're still going to get that guaranteed income from the annuity product that they can't outlive. So, in a nutshell, and I know you have some questions, and I know you've done some. That's primarily how this product came about.
Yeah, and I got to tell you that when I've done, again, 4 or 5 of them, and I just learned about this about, what was it, 6 weeks, 2 months ago, something like that. You told me about it, and I was like, dude, okay, now back up, rewind. And when you said, it's like, we got to get this guy on the podcast about this because it's so cool. Yep. And the ones that I've written, like I've got one that the lady is 65 years old. She's got a couple of pensions. She's got Social Security, but she wants to play more early on. And so she wants to have higher income for the next 4 or 5 years. And then so she can travel, she can do some other things. And so what it is, I think we took $150,000, $200,000 into it. It gave her about $400 or $500 more a month, and then it dropped down 5, 6 years from now. I think she's like at 900, then it drops down like 550 or something like that. So she's literally got an extra $5,000 a year, go on a couple of different cruises, a couple of big trips. And then when her health, she says, I'm going to slow down, and I've got that guaranteed income. Another one I used it for was, I'm trying to think here, the husband was retiring. He was the primary breadwinner, but his job provided the insurance, the health insurance. And so by going through, and we had to bridge it from 62 to 65 for his wife, because she was 3 years younger, for us to figure out a way to pay for health insurance from the exchange, because they were going to have higher healthcare costs for the next 3 years. And this was perfect. And they wanted the guaranteed income. They wanted the piece. And I was like, and when they said that, she was like, dude, I just talked to Troy the other day. He's got a solution. Let me go ahead it's beautiful.
No, what I love too is when we have webinars or seminars or whatever, when we're in front of people and we say, okay, raise of hands, and I want you all to say the one thing that you're going to do in retirement. 1, 2, 3, go. And 9 out of 10 people are going to say travel. right? That's just what they've been waiting their whole life to do, is to travel. So to give them that little boost right when they are entering retirement is huge, because I mean, who knows what their health is going to be like in 10 years. So if they were with another product or anything like that, sure, we can get you higher, in 10 years, that increasing income or whatever it is. But having this up front gives them so much more freedom, and just more money is always nice. But when you retire, at least for my parents, they retired. It was like, okay, let's do all of the things we said we were gonna. I want to go travel. I want to take this cruise. I want to go to Africa. Like, they had so many ideas of activities that they wanted to do that working prevented them from doing. And now they're footloose and fancy free. And now they need some income that's going to be there month after month. And so, yeah, I think when Ryan told me, oh, you should have seen it. He was like, Kylie, get on Zoom right now. I just got off a meeting with Troy, and this is going to blow your mind. So we did a couple illustrations, and it was like, oh my gosh, this could really change the lives of so many clients who want to do something aggressive right up front. Like, okay, I want to start traveling right away. I want to buy a fifth wheel. I want to do something, and I need the funds. So this is great for so many people. I loved it. I thought it was amazing.
And we've noticed it in the volume and in the applications coming in. So as I mentioned, we built it with the idea of having this bridge for Social Security. And I mean, we could spend hours going over examples on how to utilize it. Really works great, because for those folks with Social Security, I mean, again, as I mentioned, the longer they can push it off, I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of dollars that they could gain, if they live longer than, let's say, age 77 or 78, which is usually the crossover period. So again, as a Social Security bridge, that's why we built it. But to your point, Kylie and Brian, people who want extra dollars in the go-go years, people who have maybe they've been laid off, or they've got to make insurance payments, not medical plans, but what am I thinking of? COBRA payments, health insurance premiums. I mean, COBRA payments are like $22,000 a year for certain corporate executives. It's insane.
Yeah.
Funding life insurance contracts, taking care of mortgage payments, and then having that taken off your plate, college payments. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's a great product, a lot of flexibility into it. As I mentioned, you want more information, just reach out to Ryan afterwards, but there's a lot that you can do with it. And, we just did one. I'll just give you one quick example. We just did a spousal situation where we had a husband and wife. They put $500,000 into the annuity contract, age 62, and they were going to wait 4 years. So this was a 4-year wait. So they put the monies into this Nassau Income Accelerator. They were waiting 4 years, and then they were going to turn the immediate income on, the flex forward part, for an 8-year stretch. So over that 8 years, they're getting monies out of this flex forward. And so they're pulling out $58,000 out of the annuity contract each year for 8 years. And Kylie, to your point, they plan on traveling with these dollars. I mean, they are gone, right? That's their plan. At the end of 8 years, the $58,000, it does reduce down to a lower dollar amount, but it's not that far off. It reduced to over $40,000 a year. Remember, when we're paying that out each and every year, and we set this up for 2 individuals. So as long as one person was alive, we were going to keep paying that income. So $58,000 for 8 years, $40,000 for the rest of their life. It was a great case that we did it. We did a workup on, and it worked out beautifully. So
the thing about it is that was a couple. So those were spousal survivor benefits, as far as that 100%. It doesn't matter if either spouse passed away, that money's there for forever. For the surviving spouse.
Out forever. And if you put one, so we can do, obviously we can provide, coverages for, or income for 1 or for 2 individuals with the income accelerator and the flex forward benefit. With that flex forward piece, that never changes. So if it's for 1 or for 2 individuals, it doesn't change. On that lifetime income amount afterwards, when it does reduce, that will change predicated on the parameters of the client's age that you're working with. But just, that flex forward part, that piece is going to remain constant. And so it's critical when you sit down and building on a plan with someone to just understand how it is that they want to live their life. And we're pretty excited about it, because you can do a lot of things with this type of planning. So,
I'm sitting here.
Said it's how they want to live their life.
Yeah.
Because isn't that so true? I mean, that's the whole point of helping them with their financial services, right? Getting them into an annuity is to help them achieve their goals. This isn't about us, right? I mean, as much as we love the products too, it's not about that. It's about the client and what they're wanting. And what is unfortunate is there's not a ton of education about annuities. So, and then when you think, okay, when I ask a client, what do you know about annuities? Oh, and they'll say something that was maybe true 30 years ago, right? And what they don't know is this product is brand new. It's not just what happened 20 years ago, 30 years ago is still the same today. Things are changing, they're evolving, they're being competitive. There's so many more avenues that people have options to. And that's when our job comes in, right? We're explaining the different options. And so having a great product like that just gives us the backing to say, hey, we can change your life. What are you looking for? How can we help? And because I mean, we've had that conversation. It's not like when we go into that appointment, that's the first time they've ever thought about retirement. Like, oh yeah, what can I do? They've had that conversation with each other. What they don't know is what's out there, because there's so much misinformation or just not enough that they don't even know that that's an option for them. So to bring this to somebody and say, hey, you want to travel, or you want to, retire early, but you can't pay for your Cobra. Here's a solution. And they like their mind is just blown of like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know this was an option. So that's why this is so beautiful. It just doesn't matter the type of annuity. We're helping them achieve their goals in retirement. They have a ton of talk of getting to retirement, or the getting through retirement talk. So I think this is fantastic. I love it.
And Ryan, you deal with this all the time, but so I wholesale, so I'm not involved in the retail end of it as much as you all are. But there is definitely a big I see it all the time. It's all about the income. And so a lot of times people get confused with, well, I've got this much in a nest egg, right? I've got this much, I have this lump sum of money. They don't understand is how can they turn that lump sum of money into income? Or what is the best way to turn that into income? Or how can I maximize that for income? And a lot of times they put themselves maybe in a risky situation and they start taking withdrawals out from something that could go up and down, and that's it could lead to a whole host of problems. Or maybe they're sitting inside of some sort of fixed account, and they're not making enough income from it. And so that's why when they're working with you and all of your agents,
is that
there's other solutions.
Risk?
Yeah.
A little bit there, yeah.
Right?
Well, think about
it's true.
Yeah. Well, I go out and I do seminars on a regular basis. And I mean, with our company, Annuity Fundamentals, we train people how to do seminars, and we sit down with them. And one of the common things that I do when I'm out there in front of, I'm at a dinner event or a library event, you got 20, 30, 40 people in front of me, and I'm sitting there and I say, hey, the goal here is not to acquire and get a big old pile of money. And look at my pile of money. Look how much hard I've worked. Isn't this nice? The goal here is to to acquire a big old pile of money and translate that into a lifestyle. How do I convert this to income that gives me the lifestyle I've always dreamed about without market loss, without risk? And when you say that kind of like that we're going to take this 500,000 million, whatever it is, 300, whatever the pile is, and give you this lifestyle for the rest of your life, the lights come on. And I've got to tell you that, again, Nassau is one of my favorite companies for a lot of reasons. And one is the innovation of the products that for years they have been, they still are, the top three for immediate level income. Starting today, top three. Now they move back and forth between 1, 2, or 3, depending on who's got what special or who's got this rates. And but they're always right in there. And I mean, I ran an illustration yesterday and somebody beat you by $50. But I'm like, you know what? They're easier to work with. And so, and I want to take a side note here. I want to kind of, let's move away from the product for a minute. And I want to talk about Nassau as a company. Now, Troy and I've worked with Nassau for years, but Troy and you and I met on phone first time was about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that. I was the district manager for a company up in Northern Idaho, and you called to congratulate me. It's like, hey, you're one of our elite producers. I was like, great. What does that mean? You won this trip to, where was it? Was it Sonoma, the first one?
Yeah, that's correct. That's right.
It was Sonoma. It's okay. It's Sonoma, California. You won this trip, and I'm like, what contest was? I had no idea that I'd won a trip. And then, so you don't know about the premium bonus or the back end stuff. So I got 50 basis points or 75 basis points on this. So in this phone call, I
Yeah.
had qualified for a trip I didn't even know was going on, and you sent me a check for $10,000 or $12,000,
Yeah.
and this was all in one phone call. And I'm like, holy crap, what just
Yeah.
happened? Do you remember
Yeah.
that call?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember. I remember that too.
Oh yeah, you were in the office when it came out. I was like, dude, this just happened.
I mean, that's why
But
he's been working with them for as long as he has. I mean, they
you
treat
know,
their people right. So yeah, I love
but
that.
but more so than that, let me that I got to tell you that, and I've qualified for pretty much all the trips since then. And again,
Yep.
because I was like, whoa, these are cool. But
Yep.
I have no problem getting on the phone and calling Tom up, calling
Right.
the COO, the Sue,
Yep.
the marketing Paul. I mean you, but and I've got to share something a little bit personal here. That
Yep.
my son, I've got 5 kids. My youngest son got diagnosed with leukemia about 9 months ago. And my wife posted something on Facebook, and I'm friends with a lot of people from Nassau corporate on Facebook. And about 3 weeks later, 2 weeks later, we had this huge gift basket that showed up from you guys. Now, it
Yep.
was not expected, but and I told you this, and when I called and thanked you for it, that it was not expected, but I was not surprised to receive it from Nassau, because
Right.
that's the type of company and the type of people they are.
Yep.
That, and not only that, Jan, the products guy, love
Yep.
Jan, he
Yep.
called me up and was like, how's your son? And I mean, and as far as these are, Paul called me, the chief
Yep.
marketing officer. This is the
Right.
C-suite guys. They've got literally thousands of agents nationwide that
Yep.
called up some guy that sold a few annuities. And I'm definitely not, the top 10 elite, whatever. But the fact that there was a relationship there, and they were comfortable enough to, I know who Ryan is. Let's call and see how his wife Rhonda's doing with their son. It
Right.
meant the world to my wife and I. And
Yep.
it is, and as I'm talking to people and as I'm going through and sharing your products, I share that story. It's like, this is
Yep.
what this company did for me. And I know this is how they take care of their clients as well. And it just is, in my mind, the most personal out of any company that I've dealt with. And we deal with a lot of annuity companies, but you
Yep.
guys, by far and away, the most personal interaction. There's some companies that I go through and I call, they won't even let me talk to a underwriter. I
Right.
know who my underwriter is. I've got a direct line to her desk. And,
Yep.
and it's like, hey, this is a problem. What's going on here? What's my suitability problem? And they'll tell me. It is amazing.
Yeah.
So anyway, use that in an
Overall,
ad. There you go.
yeah, no, yeah, listen, overall, we try to take pride in ourselves and speed to answering the phones and speed to issuing new business and speed to getting transfer business in the door is all stuff that we take serious. When it gets to our elite producers, Ryan, which you've been for several years running, it's fun to do the retreats and to do those meetings and to get to know each other on a personal level. And we love to
Yeah.
give people bonus checks. I mean, our program this year starts at $1 million. And there's different tiers. It's at $1 million, it's at $2 million, it's at $5 million. We've grown it now. We have over 200 elite producers. You have, as you know, you've got a hotline into
Yeah. Love that.
new business and service, and it's not unlike other companies. So I travel a lot. A Marriott, right? I walk into a Marriott and it's like, Mr. Briggs, welcome back. It's amazing. So that's the type of concierge service that we want to provide people who we call our elite producers. And
Now, let's talk about that. What do you have to produce to be there, and what
yeah.
are some of the benefits to it? So, talk a little bit about that program, because it's a great.
Yep. If you just do $1 million in annuity credits with us, you become an elite producer with us. You'd get a bonus check at the end of the year. We would pay you a 25 basis point bonus check based on $1 million in production. If you could get 25 basis points, is $2,500. That would be a bonus check. If you could get to $2 million with us, you would earn a 50 basis point bonus check. That's for first year. If you got to $5 million, it's going to be a 75 basis point bonus check. That's in the first year, and we would pay that out to you at the end of the year. So, at 2 million, well, I'll use 2 million because it's easy math. 2 million, 50 basis points is $10,000. That's a $10,000 check that you would earn. That would be a bonus check to you for doing that production with us. But what's great is if you repeat and you do it again in the next year, those dollars go up. So if you did more than $2 million in the second year in a row, it would go, the 50 basis points would jump up to 75. So you're going to get a little bit of an earnings. And then if you did $5 million this year and then you did 5 next year, that's going to jump up to 100 basis points or a 1% bonus check on that $5 million amount. And so for Ryan, in your situation where you've been several times and you just gotten to know the entire company, when something like that happens with your family situation, for us, it's just natural. It's just a natural. There's nothing like business. It's just like what we want to do. We just felt it in our hearts to reach out and let you know that we were thinking of you, that, we know you're going to have tough times, and, we wanted to wish you and your family the best. So that's all there was to that. Yeah.
And I appreciate that. My wife and I do appreciate that. And it is wonderful. I really am grateful for it. Now, the trips, let's talk a little bit about that because a lot of insurance companies don't have those anymore, and you guys still do. I think you're going to Cabo this year. And we went to the Bahamas, and then we went to where's it for next year? It's Park City, Utah?
The Stein Erickson Lodge in Utah. So
now I live in Idaho, and I was like, dang it, I could drive there. So I mean, I'm just saying it's a beautiful place, and I think I called and gave you a hard time about that. It's like, but it is an amazing place. I've been there.
It's Park City, Utah. So it'll be different than let's say a warm environment, but it'll be outstanding. It's always worth attending. It's, as you know, we always have fun. You'll find some activities that keep you and your guests plenty entertained. But I think it's the best part of it is just coming in and meeting the people that make up the company. And sometimes it's not just a salesperson. I mean, I'm just a talking head, but then you get to meet CEO, CFO, the product officer, the growth officer, Tom. You get to meet a lot of the people that work in new business, and we bring team members in so that you could work. You're going to meet people that are working on your cases, putting stuff together. So it's a nice way to build that connectivity. It's a great trip, but it's also the best part is just becoming friends and building that connectivity with the field, people who are really doing the heavy lifting, right? The producers who are helping people out with a simple product that we provide. But it's great to connect you with people in our home office. It's worked out great.
Now let's go ahead. So let's take a minute here. We've got a few minutes left. We've got about 5-10 minutes left here.
Yep.
If I'm a brand new agent and I want to start getting in selling annuities, and if you go to all of the we've got Facebook group Annuity Fundamentals, and there's lots of chat boards out there. There's lots of things, and quite often you'll see what company should I start with, and Nassau is one of the regular ones that pops up there. Yep. If I'm brand new in this, what are some of the common mistakes that you see new agents make, or what are some things that you would recommend for them to be successful in this? Okay, I'm licensed, I'm now appointed, I'm now done the product training.
Yep.
How do I go from there? What do you think? What are the things that you guys can help with, or what do you think on that?
Yeah, I think the best thing that person could do is try to figure out, because you want to fish to where the fish are, right? That's an old saying. And you also want to kind of keep it simple. But I think in terms of what's happening in a person's life at a certain ages, and I think in terms of from an age standpoint, 59.5 is I think an important age, because, and if people don't know, at 59.5, if they've got qualified dollars, that they might be able to do something with the qualified dollars and not pay penalties. So it triggers certain things that people can do. At 62 is another age to keep in the back of your mind. That's when someone can start taking Social Security. 65 is an important age. That's when they're going to be eligible for Medicare, right? Mm-hmm. And so 67 is full Social Security. 70 is Social Security on steroids. 72 is when someone's got to start taking money from from a plan. So you can think in terms of when is the money in motion, and how can you put yourself in front of folks who may have money in motion. I think is a great way to start thinking in terms of, okay, how can I wrap my head around when it makes sense to talk to somebody or to start marketing to somebody as to when they might want to sit down with me to start do some planning. From what we're doing at Nassau, I'll use Social Security as an example. On our website, salesnet.nfg.com, if you wanted to have enough information to be dangerous on Social Security, we've got a Social Security Hub section now on our website where you could come on in and you could sort of absorb all of that information, take that all in, and really in a short amount of time know a lot more about Social Security than you would ever know before. And so that's the Social Security Hub on Nassau's website. We encourage you to check that out, because if you're just starting out in this business, to have that knowledge on a topic like that can help you sit down and build credibility with the folks that you're trying to work with. I also think I'm a big believer in books. And so if you could ever find a book like this, one's called The Number by Lee Eisenberg. It was written several years ago. It's just a
great
book on,
great book.
You know this book? It's just a book on Kylie, you were talking about it. How do you want to retire? Because everybody's different. And so if you could sort of sit down and just have a conversation with somebody, and maybe it's a book that will lead you into that conversation, or maybe it's something like Social Security, or you overhear somebody talking about they're getting ready to retire, or they're going to sell a house and they've got a lump sum of money. They don't know what to do with it. Those are the types of things that you want to pay attention to and watch out for, and know that the people are going to need help, and especially in those transition periods, they're going to need help, and they're looking for somebody to sit down with and talk to. So that's I think something that's important is just try to understand what's going on in your market and watch how the money moves, and then that's when you know that someone's going to need assistance.
One of the things you talked about, and Kylie, we do this a lot. There's another company we do a lot of work with. It's called Lead Shop. Their website's leadshop.org. And what that company's job is to fill the room for seminars. And we started in Medicare, and we worked through a company that was a wonderful company, great people, but it was Medicare was our gateway. And then we'd get in there and we'd through our fact-finding process. And this is the stuff we teach in the Annuity Fundamentals classes on our annuityfundamental.com. And we use the tee up language, and going through the fact-finding process, got into the money, and we set up appointments for annuities. But what I found that works really, really well, and recently, especially in rural and semi-rural areas, we're doing a lot of seminars and workshops focusing around Social Security. We send out a mailer, we get 30, 40 people in the room, and we are there to talk about Social Security. But it's not Social Security by itself in a silo. It's all right, when do you start taking Social Security? If I've got a 401k, a 403b, and a pension, and my wife's Social Security and my Social Security, which one do I start first and why? What happens if a spouse passes away? And we educate folks on this as it pertains to their Medicare, their long-term care, their income, their lifestyle, along with all the other risks in retirement. And we show agents how to do that. But what it does is, because it is that Social Security piece, they might be on Social Security already, but they've got questions with it. Much like Medicare, a lot of people are on Social Security or on Medicare and have been for years, and don't fully understand what it even is and how it works. And by doing that and clarifying that and showing how you can maximize it and do some of these other decisions there, coupled with some sound financial advice with your portfolio, you can have a much better lifestyle. And Social Security is really one of the things that we talk to folks about, and have found that to be a very, very effective way to have the conversations that get into the money with folks. So I think you're right on the money there, Troy.
Yeah. And that's just something that we do. Another thing that we offer at Nassau is this Create the Life You Want brochure. And we offer this in both hard copy. So you get contracted with us, you work with Ryan and Kylie, and you want to get an annuity sales kit sent out to you. A lot of times this is sitting inside of our annuity sales kit, but you can get this electronically. And, just as quick, it's always about a conversation starters, right? And so this goes over the six common risks among retirees. And so I'm not going to go through them all, but longevity, I've already mentioned longevity, outliving your money, market volatility, healthcare costs. These are all conversation starters. What are you doing? What are you doing for healthcare? Should you enter into a crisis? Social Security and pension risk. We spent a lot of time talking about that. The rising cost of goods and services, inflation, things that you might be doing to protect yourself there, maintaining or upgrading your lifestyle. So this is a great piece that we use. It's available to you. It's a great educational piece. It could go in conjunction, Ryan, maybe with a lot of the things that you're offering with Annuity Fundamentals. And so, and I know you have your program's built out, but it's just something that we offer. And if people are just getting going, it's all about starting those conversations in a non-threatening way. And if we can help you do that, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and then one of the other things about it is that you guys have got, like Paul, marketing guy. Yep. He's got videos that are talk about your products that are aiming at Medicare folks to get them into the annuities, and you guys also offer med sups and things like that in a lot of states. And they've got these wonderfully done videos that you call them up, they'll private label and they'll slap your logo on it and send it out. I mean, it is really, there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of tools you guys have. Just really the soup to nuts, the whole package. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And wait till Paul, wait till he's working on artificial intelligence right now, so that we'll, in the not so distant future, we'll be able to a producer will be able to come in and answer some questions, and they'll dial in a marketing plan for them. So it's fascinating what's happening in that world. But to your point, there's probably my guess is 12 to 14 videos now on our website, client approved and ready to go. So if that's, again, more market material that you want to utilize, you got access to it. So
that's awesome.
Well, that's great. So, all right, Troy. So if I want to get appointed with Nassau and I'm a producer out there, this sounds great. I want access to these products. I want access to these, the marketing piece, and more importantly, the amazing people and culture. How would I go about doing that?
I think they'd contact you or Kylie, right? I mean, they're going to be working through you.
Yeah, we can help them.
Once you get that set straight, they could simply come onto the website and get registered and start that process through our salesnet.nfg.com website.
Okay. Now, with that, I just want to be clear. Some annuity companies make you register through an IMO. You have to go through an IMO. Other ones will let you contract directly with the agent. Do you guys require an IMO, or can they contract directly with you?
No, through the IMO, through your organization.
All right.
Yep.
With that being said, reach out to us at Annuity Fundamentals, and we can go ahead and help you with that. We work with multiple IMOs, and so we can find one in your region or your area to help you that works best for your business.
Yep.
Troy, thank you so much for meeting with us today. It's always a pleasure visiting with you. I am excited to see the whole team in Park City next year. It's going to be a good time. My wife told me when we were having this, she's like, make sure to tell Troy Rhonda said hi. And so there you go. Troy, thank you so much for staying with us today. We got to have you and some other people from Nassau on in the future. Next week, our guest is John Clark, and he's coming from a company called the Flex Method. And it's going to be more IUL based and show how we can use IULs coupled with annuities to create income, long-term care protection. And it's something that is a wonderful process that actually sounds too good to be true. John is going to go through and go into the nitty-gritty on that and talk to us about that. So stay tuned next week and we'll have it there. Thank you so much for staying with us, and we'll see you then.